Inflation isn't just an economic statistic. It's the quiet thief in your grocery cart. The reason your paycheck feels smaller every month. It's a force that transforms budgets, choices, and lives in ways that often go unseen. Hello and welcome to FluxFolio Finance, where we bring you the real stories behind the numbers. A morning kitchen. A mother cradles a coffee mug, staring at an empty cereal box. The fridge hums its quiet complaint. The world feels normal. But something's changed. That cereal is more expensive now. That coffee smells the same, but costs more. Inflation isn't an abstract measure. It's the moment you put something back on the shelf because the price went up. In the US, headline CPI was up 2.3%. In May, core inflation, which strips out food and energy, rose 2.7%, still above the Federal Reserve's 2% target. Consumers have started to pull back on spending for the first time since January. A whisper or a warning? Food prices tell the real story. Cereal was up 1.1% in May. Frozen food, snacks, produce all climbed. Chicken and egg prices peaked nearly 165% higher than pre-pandemic levels earlier this year. A MarketWatch survey found 60% of middle and low-income households are cutting small comforts to cope. A teacher named Rochelle cuts social outings. Omar, a truck driver, worries about gas and groceries. In the UK, awful April saw utility and water bills rise 3.5%, the biggest jump since the 1980s. Inflation isn't a number on a page. It's the erosion of normalcy. Savings shrink, stress grows, choices narrow. Surveys show consumer sentiment remains well below pre-2024 levels, down around 18%, despite a slight uptick in June 2025. Worry over inflation looms even as headline rates stabilize. In Southeast Europe, it's not just surveys. In Croatia, consumers have boycotted supermarkets to protest soaring prices. In some places, families skipped utility payments in solidarity. This is inflation not as a statistic, but as protest, as lived anger, because inflation acts like a lockdown, not of your home, but of your options. Shoppers switch to cheaper brands or smaller packages. They skip outings or delay doctor visits. Less money moves in the economy, less joy. What's behind the price spikes? Tariffs are one reason. New US tariffs have quietly pushed average rates into the mid-teens, their highest levels since the 1930s. That tax trickles through supply chains. There's also what economists call greedflation. Companies with market power push price hikes beyond their actual cost increases. And don't forget climate shocks. In the UK, heat waves disrupted harvests. Gooseberry prices spiked 243%. Overall, produce inflation climbed 3.7% in June. The result is a new kind of fragility. In the US, 3 in 4 parents say rising grocery prices are pushing families to the brink. Food pantries see surging demand. Government aid helps but doesn't solve. Australians face similar strain. Even with inflation easing to around 2.1%, experts warn of a persistent cost of living crisis. Young Australians are advised to invest in income assets instead of simply slashing spending. In Croatia, boycotts forced the government to freeze prices on staples and crack down on price gouging. Consumers adapt any way they can, switching to store-brand cereal, skipping premium coffees, cooking at home more. Each shift seems small but carries a cost in time, quality, even nutrition. And inflation isn't fair. It's regressive. Low-income households spend a bigger share of their income on food, energy, and housing. A 3.7% increase hits them much harder than wealthier households who hold appreciating assets. Mental health suffers. Food insecurity rises. Anxiety spreads. Shoplifting has spiked in places like the UK, especially among older demographics. Desperation is quiet, but visible. This isn't just macroeconomics, it's hardship. Inflation's bite isn't spread evenly. It forces choices that feel cruelly personal. A young couple weighs rent against medicine. An elderly shopper counts out coins for groceries. A parent skips meals so their kid can eat. These aren't abstract scenarios. They're happening everywhere. Meet the Johnson family in Houston. Their rent rose 2.3% over 6 months. Their weekly grocery budget fell from $240 to $200. That's $160 a month less for anything else. School supplies, clothes, even a rare night out. Juan in rural Ohio is diabetic. His insulin costs jumped 15% this year. He skips doses to make vials last. A KFF survey shows nearly 1 in 4 U.S. adults now skip prescriptions because they can't afford them. This is how inflation traps people. It isn't just a higher number on a government report. It's a set of trade-offs you didn't ask for. Central banks see these numbers, but their tools are blunt. Fed President John Williams warns that tariffs and geopolitical pressures are delaying rate cuts. They have to be careful. Go too fast, and inflation roars back. Go too slow, and the economy stalls. In Europe, ECB officials are cautious too. Christine Lagarde talks of increased volatility, warning they may have to act forcefully or persistently if shocks keep coming. In Hungary, base rates hold at 6.5% because inflation is outside the tolerance band. Policymakers there know cutting too soon could undo hard-won stability. Economists call this fiscal dominance. Governments keep spending even as central banks try to cool demand. The result? Monetary policy loses punch. Inflation becomes stickier, and meanwhile, families feel squeezed. Mental health clinics see rising anxiety and depression linked to cost-of-living worries. In the UK, teachers report kids arriving hungry or cold. Families ration heat. A PMC study ties inflation stress to spikes in depression and anxiety. Even households that seem comfortable feel the squeeze. They delay doctor visits, choose generics, take second jobs. Governments try to help. Australia lifted childcare and energy subsidies. Helpful? Sure. But economists warn they also risk keeping demand high. In Hungary, rent controls and price freezes help renters and buyers in the short run. But they also distort markets. Brookings researchers suggest tying aid directly to the actual inflation households face, instead of blanket handouts that risk fueling prices further. It's a policy challenge with no easy answers. Inflation can stem from multiple sources. 1. Demand surges as economies recover. 2. Supply chains tighten under shocks, pandemics, wars, trade tensions. 3. Tariffs act like hidden taxes. 4. Companies with pricing power exploit uncertainty to raise margins. 5. Climate change disrupts harvests and drives up food prices. Each of these demands different responses. But central banks don't control tariffs. They don't set fiscal policy. They can't fix drought or trade wars. They can only use rates to cool demand, risking recessions to do so. Meanwhile, the impact remains personal. Rose is a teacher. She logs onto grocery apps and sees prices inch up. She can't charge her students more for supplies, so she cuts spending elsewhere. Klaus is a factory worker in Germany. His rent subsidy helps, but heating costs drain his budget. He starts skipping evenings out. Maria in Brazil sees her groceries jump after fuel costs rise. She takes on a second shift to keep her kids fed. Inflation isn't abstract. It's a forced choice between needs. But people adapt. They budget more carefully. Cut out non-essentials. Choose store brands. Delay purchases. Communities adapt too. Food pantries see record demand. Mutual aid groups coordinate deliveries. Neighbors share tips on saving. And even policymakers adapt. They debate windfall taxes on energy profits. Consider direct cash aid targeted at the most vulnerable. Adjust tax brackets to account for inflation. Because inflation is regressive. It hits the poor harder. Low-income households spend more of their budget on essentials like food, energy, and rent. They can't cushion price hikes with investment gains or asset sales. When policymakers ignore that, they risk deepening inequality, and ignoring it isn't an option. Because inflation erodes trust. It sows anger, protest, political instability. It challenges the social contract. That hard work should let you get ahead, not fall behind. It makes the economy feel like it's working against you. But understanding it is the first step to fighting it. Thank you for spending time with us at FluxFolio Finance. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more honest, clear-eyed stories about the forces shaping your wallet and your world. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay connected. Until next time.